I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another political recap stream, the final political recap stream of 2023. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Remember to change the scene, I know, much professional. Joining me to talk about some political stuff, maybe have a little chit chat about the festive season, a pagan and a non-pagan, is Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups. I don't have a drink with me right now.
I've got a cork somewhere.
That's okay.
I thought you brought it.
Creek.
Ah.
Very good.
My chair, yes. It's quite. Was that what you said? Creek?
Yes, creek. Because I just hear it squeaking as you lean over.
It's like 4 years old. It needs to go. How was
4 years old? Long
yeah.
for a chair?
This one's done very well. This was a birthday stream fundraising thing. I bought this. The only thing I've ever done is bought armrest padding and a memory foam cushion underneath it. How was your festive season? I don't know if you actually celebrate Christmas or not.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
And that's mostly just because, not like I have to, but I have it, I guess.
I get you.
I plus, I mean, Christmas basically stole everything from pagan holidays anyway.
Well, that's pretty much just Christianity down to a T. I watched the Da Vinci Code. I know what they did. I enjoyed mine. I got some presents. I'm wearing some of them in the form of slippers. I got a collectible bottle of whiskey, which is in my now completed Game of Thrones whiskey collection. If you exclude the Johnny Walker ones, which are harder to find, I have all the all 9 of the others, which are worth about 1,500 together.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's an investment for the future.
It's like $2,000 US.
It's about $2,000. Yeah, I got Arkham Knight trilogy on the Switch as well, and a speaker cab for my amp, which is perfect.
I've seen you been playing God of War mostly.
I was actually playing it when you messaged me. I was on my Steam Deck playing it.
I saw. That's why I messaged you. I'm like, hey, are you? Do you remember? We have a thing.
When you sent the message, I was like, does he know?
Yes, because I sent it like directly after.
Yeah, I did wonder.
That's okay.
But yeah, it was great. My dad joined us. I haven't had dad here for Christmas since I was like 10 years old. So that was nice because he was very out of his depth, obviously bereavement and all that. But he didn't realize we were going to nice him for Christmas, so he was very happy with that, and very grateful to everyone that donated to obtain the 21-year-old Bushmills for him. He's very happy with that.
I saw that the group had done a lot of work for everybody.
Yeah, we had my friend Dave here as well. Hung out in the bar, drank a lot. It was great. Drank a lot of mead.
Good. I have some mead too. I drank some mead. I think it was 2 weeks ago when I was out with my the friends to do the Yule thing. Yeah.
Well, we had 2 bottles of Christmas mead. Sorry.
I said my friends they make their own.
Yes, you told me. That's very cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. Years ago, when I was working in Norwich, I found that you could make your own whiskey, and with this device, it's about £200-300, and I wanted to get it before I left Norwich. Did you hear that dog whining behind my door, by the way?
I don't actually.
Wizzy was outside my door howling. The thing is, I have to leave her there because otherwise my sister will knock on the door in a few minutes' time to collect her, and I'll have to pause everything I do to let her, go.
Right.
We hit 10,000 followers on Twitter, which is very exciting. I was very happy about
Ooh.
that. Yeah, I was very surprised we managed to get there, but we did on Christmas Day. I thought it was a lovely little treat.
Nice.
I've been on that platform longer than I have on YouTube, so that was cool.
I haven't. I actually got into Twitter much later. I avoided Twitter because I thought it was toxic.
Well, it is. It's a damning statement for how hard it is to grow on Twitter without a blue check mark.
And how hard I go in on Twitter.
Yes, but I'm somewhat surprised you lost your account.
That's a good point, actually.
Did you get any gifts from Santa this year? Your pagan Santa, that is.
Yes. Yes, quite. Yes, Odin did come and deliver gifts.
Okay.
No, I'm not actually I'm not a Asatru, the Norse pagan. But yes, I did get gifts. I got one of the things that so my family does a Secret Santa thing. We've done it for a couple years now because money is tight for everybody, basically, because Bidenomics, everybody.
Yep.
So we basically agree everyone has like a $50 cap, and everyone puts in a wish list, and then randomly assigned people within that wish list Secret Santa.
Yeah.
So my Secret Santa did deliver me one of the things was a RFID and NFC blocking card.
Oh.
So do you understand what those are?
Yes, because a lot of people use contactless.
Yes, contactless, but also because you have a chip in your debit card and credit cards.
Yeah.
It is not difficult to develop a machine or something that can scan your.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scan your information just by walking by.
I do like that. That's a very handy device. Although,
yes,
I think to an extent, my phone case must have something similar to that because I have contactless on my phone and I also have a card in the back of my phone case. Yet, if I hold my phone onto a contactless port, it will recognize my phone before it recognizes the card, yet the chip is right next to the where the NFC is.
Well, the other thing is that these chips have it's essentially it's not necessarily an emitter and receiver, but basically imagine like in an inert object that when brought together with something can activate it, right? Because both your phone and the chip have essentially, I don't know how to make this simple, but those objects, those otherwise inert objects, they're next to each other. One is typically a lot more powerful. Your phone being powered is much more powerful than the card, so it would be read faster than your card would be.
Right, that makes more sense. I appreciate the information on that.
Yes.
I'm glad you got.
But that was one thing. That was one thing, and then the other thing was I got a 9-key smart keypad. So I just opened my drawer and.
I heard the thumping sound. Yes.
Yes. Essentially, it's a poor man's Steam Deck or Stream Deck rather. It's just an extra 9 keys that can be attached and assigned with macro.
To be honest, I want to get one of those when I'm streaming. Because I got told, just use hotkeys on your PC, and I'm like, but I use a driving game. I need buttons that are removed from the game that won't interfere with it. It would take me ages to set that up. I need something dedicated. Right,
and I actually have not fully opened this, so that's what I'm doing.
Unboxing, everyone. Yay.
Yes, it is. But it is something that I've wanted for a while. Not necessarily known what I'm going to do with it, but something certainly.
Nothing wrong with that, because I would love to get something like that. A macro pad would be kind of handy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think every person who does things on the internet, whether it be just like Discord calls or I think everybody should have basically something like this.
I'm fully on board with that. I stream a lot on Twitch. I maintain I need those buttons. So I'm with you 100%.
Yes, I agree 100%. Yes, indeed.
Anyway.
But yeah, so that's what I got.
That's really cool. That really is.
And that has been my Christmas in a nutshell. But for everybody in the chat, I hope you also had a fruitful Christmas, and
Yeah, hope you
that
did too.
everything you got everything that you wanted forever and always.
All the food, hopefully, and angry children disappointed you didn't give them what they asked for explicitly.
Oh, is that a thing?
No, I don't know.
I saw a video of
A kid with a PS5.
oh no! It was a kid who got like a some phone, right? And they were like, "Why didn't you get me the iPhone 13?" And I'm like, "Man, shut the fuck up! Absolutely not!" I waited at least like a couple of minutes before I said that.
Yeah, that's like the kid who got the PS5 and asked for a PC, and I'm like, bitch. I mean, it could easily be staged. I honestly, it really could be. He was smiling, but
yeah,
I'm sorry. Just learn to be like the guy who got the kid that got, what was it, an avocado?
An avocado.
Thanks. Very South Park in response. I love it.
We make that joke, me and my wife, all the time. We're a healthy couple.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, we're just absolute meme.
Meme lords.
We're stupid. Yep, yeah, that. Thank you.
I mean, dumbasses works.
Yeah, that too. Yes, both, all of them all together at once.
Yes.
But good. So, politics. Where do you wish to begin our politics? Now, of course, we could always talk about the year in review, real quick.
We could.
Or we can wait for that till later.
We can wait till later. Let's get to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll start with Ukraine because fuck it. The UK is going to be sending hundreds of air defense missiles to Ukraine after Sunak, our Prime Minister, has slammed a bunch of attacks on cities in Ukraine. Now, I heard over Christmas that Ukraine was celebrating. They were celebrating because they had taken down a warship. They had been expending their resources to do this, right? They're being tactical by just shooting everything they can.
Yeah, it's very tactical.
Which is why they're begging America and the United Kingdom and any other nation that has anything to, send it their way. Yeah? Now,
they need more.
122 missiles and 36 drones were launched at Kyiv. The Ukrainian Air Force intercepted 87 of the missiles and 27 of the Shahed-type drones. I don't know what that is. I assume it's not the ones you can buy from a catalogue.
Definitely not. I don't think catalogs have been in existence for at least 15, 20 years.
Fair enough.
Well, at least not the Sears catalog.
I mean, I didn't know there was. I was just joking, but I get you.
Oh, yeah.
Sunak has said on Twitter that the widespread attacks on Ukraine's cities show that Vladimir Putin will stop at nothing to achieve his aim of eradicating freedom and democracy. We will not let them win. Sorry, we will not let him win. He's not non-binary. I'm kind of like you've got other ministers saying the UK is moving to bolster Ukraine's air defense. Now this makes us look good, doesn't it? It makes him look good, the Prime Minister. But really, what is he accomplishing? Fuck all, really, because Ukraine is on the is not on the back foot. They haven't won and they're not winning. So what is the point at this point? They want to try and take back Crimea. I fully understand that since it was illegally annexed. But go figure, it happened under other people's watches. But it happened
Obama, for those who are confused.
Or a UK Prime Minister in the form of David Obama's ass Cameron.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Zelensky spent weeks urging the West to provide the country with more air defences. The problem we have is that if the United Kingdom provide anything other than weapons, then we are seen as being a part of war, and then we run the risk of being shot at by a country that are willing to use their humans as lemmings. I'm sorry, but we don't need too much to destroy their army, but it's a waste of our commandos' time.
True.
It's just target practice. Seriously. And while this is going on, by the way, in Russia, because they love their freedom so much, one of the opposition leaders has been barred from running, I believe, from office. I think she was either that or arrested.
Really? A Russian barring and opposing party member from running. Did they strike the person from the
Oh yeah,
ballot?
here we go. An anti-war candidate was barred from Russia's presidential election. Her name is Yekaterina Duntsova. She wants to end the conflict. Her candidacy was rejected over alleged flaws in her application. She's anti-war. Problem is, right, in Russia they have a constitution similar with presidential term limits to that of America. You get 2. Vladimir Putin, though, found a loophole. The loophole said that he didn't have to be prime minister for a 3rd consecutive term, but he could, for that term, put in somebody in place, Medvedev, who could
remember this.
Yeah, and then he could then run again for 2 more turns.
Right.
By the way, his approval rating, though, is nosediving every single term.
Yeah.
And he wants to be, like Xi Jinping, a perpetual president, who we can talk about at some point soon. I actually think that it's very brave for somebody to to try and run for office on the grounds that this is pointless. Can we stop wasting resources? And can we stop pointlessly harming other people? Whereas you have career politicians like Putin who are proving the point of what a career politician is, which is pointless. And by the way, I'm just going to say this now. If you are a career politician, I think you're a fraud. Simple as that. Get over yourselves. You made it a point to have a career in power and to control, and because you're a micromanaging control freak that wants to dictate everyone else's lives under the guise of.
And if you're lucky enough to be a senator or a congressperson in the U.S., your time eventually will come when we institute term limits.
I hope so. I hope for it in the UK as well with MPs, to be honest. But yeah, I find it fascinating this is all going on. There was something about actually, it was something about what was his name? What's his name? Oh, Alexei Navalny. He's actually recently spoken. Yeah, he's recently. He says he's relieved. Let's see, he's relieved. What is it? He's still in the prison, the Arctic prison. He's still there. You got an associate of the Russian opposition leader sentenced to 9 years in prison because of dissent, basically. It's typical authoritarianism from a country that has lived for so long under communism that when they got their freedom back, they were oh so keen to give it back to the government. And Putin was more than happy to do it because the man's worth a few $100 million. He doesn't have to give a fuck. And has that mansion.
Well, he basically got everything from everybody and said, "Oh, well, thank you for handing this to me."
Yeah, he's more than happy to fuck over the oligarchs as well, whilst he simultaneously manages to make obscene amounts of money, building a giant mansion with a nuclear bunker underneath the pool no less, just in case he's eventually attacked, while he himself is slowly but surely corroding from all the horrible things happening to his internal organs. That totally not cancer and random seizures he experiences on a daily basis.
Yes, true.
He's a good leader.
Yes, there are several leaders in time that basically, well, in history rather, that everyone was kind of just so happy to wait for their eventual demise.
Biden, what?
Oh, well, I wasn't actually thinking of that, but yes, I guess
I'm kidding. Nah, he's just he's president in name only. Hello, by the way, I haven't said this to chat yet. Hello, Orla. Hello, Leona. Hello, Michael. Hello, Rage Muffin. I think you're Ragamuffin, my mistake. Hope you're all well today. This is our last stream of 2023, because obviously, so we're trying to be. I'm trying to be somewhat more energetic than usual, rather than sitting back and letting Trups do all the talking. And I'm gonna just for the. You're welcome. I'm gonna try next year and put a bit more effort into the live side. With images, make more of an effort again because I think it is better, and change the thumbnail, get people more interested in this conversation. So I think
I like the conversation. I like what we do with this.
Yeah.
So we'll have to like figure out how to continue to. I don't know, like make it new-ish for the live stream, because something.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know.
I'll figure it out. Well, we'll work it out. So. Yeah, our government is going to be sending more missiles to top up the depleting supplies of the Ukrainian people who have been... Well, they have made some inroads. It can be safely said they're doing meh. They're not making as much inroads, and I'm not comfortable with us continually sending our resources elsewhere. Not only because we are then at risk of being attacked.
Now, I will say, just because we're on the topic, apparently, as of, let's see, when is the earliest update to this? 5 hours ago, there was a Russian missile. No, longer. It keeps getting longer. We'll go
Okay.
about 12. We'll go about 12 or so hours.
Okay.
A Russian missile strike, the largest air attack ever on Ukraine since the full-scale invasion.
Yeah.
That is an ongoing story that I'm currently scrolling through on CNN.
Oh.
Let's see here. Attacks, according to an update, what was it, 2 hours, 1 minute ago? Attacks left at least 31 people dead and over 150 injured, damaging civilian infrastructure.
Oh dear.
Apparently, Poland argues that they shot the missile over their country, and they're kind of like, "Excuse me, the fuck you doing? What? That's get out. It's not allowed. Fuck off." Says, according to the statement, Ordash was handed a note in which the Ministry of Foreign Affairs requests an explanation of the incident of violating Poland's airspace by what the ministry said was a missile.
Okay.
I like how they said was like what they said was a missile. I'm like, what else could it have been?
I'm a bit confused by that then, really.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's a thing that's apparently gone on and is interesting.
That is interesting, actually. I'm intrigued. I'm a bit like miffed.
New story though. We'll have to get back to it later.
Yeah. I had seen a number of comments saying that it's up to NATO countries to provide the finance and weapons for war with Russia, and they need to start hitting Russian cities. I don't think that's the right way of going about it. I think that if we start a war with Russia, we're going to lose because they're used to colder climates, although not against the Finnish. I also think we wouldn't be well off doing. No, there's no point us harming their innocent people just because their leaders are dickheads.
Right.
You know?
And also, like, I don't think we're gonna get the results that we want. Like,
Agreed.
Unfortunately, the talking heads or the people who pretend to understand things that are on Twitter will make a lot of assessments or opinions about like how we should handle war. And one of those is almost always like, we should go and engage in active warfare in other country. Why? That is an aggressive way to start things. Don't do that. That's bad. That's bad. We should not just unprovoked say, all right, here we go. That's a bad plan. And anybody who says that's a good idea needs to have a firm reminder of what it is they're actually asking for.
Yeah. And Chaos, hi. You ask, what do you think will resolve the situation? A giant fecking meteor. There is, in fact, one on its way to Earth now called the Chaos God meteor. Just let it hit Russia.
It's called corn?
That too. No, I believe it's called Chaos God meteor or something like that. I don't know which god it is. I would assume corn based on its trajectory.
Okay.
No, I don't know what to do. I know that Russia have always remained removed from a lot of things. NATO expanded. Some of the countries they used to own obviously became their own countries. So Russia's territory on the east, on their east, no, their west, sorry, but the east of Europe did diminish. But Russia wants to go back to a time before Russia was even Russia. So I'll be honest, the solution I think is actually remarkably simple. It's just a shame it can't be implemented, and that would be to dissolve Russia as a country and change it back to a bunch of individual countries again.
That would be very difficult to do.
It's a simple one, but it can't be implemented.
Right.
Solely because it's too big. That's the problem Russia has. It's far too big. It's not one country. People who say it is are deluded, and the Russian government know it. I know someone wants to be pedantic and now correct me. Fuck off.
No.
Not you, though. Okay, so next on the agenda, what should we talk about?
Okay.
And orcs. War. Very good. I want to start singing like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, but I can't do the high-pitched notes that Chris Tucker does. Rush Hour, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Cool. What's been going on in your neck of the woods?
In my neck of the woods, well, of course, we did say it was going to happen, and we were objectively correct.
Yep.
That after they would have, a precedent in Colorado, that more of the states would begin to attempt to strike Donald Trump from ballots, primary ballots, and then all citing the same thing, citing, well, of course, since Colorado did it, well, then we should be able to do it too.
Yeah, we said that. We said more states will do it, and it will create further divide. If you then start to bar candidates, you are doing something that is unconstitutional. You're also acting, as we had said last week, ahead of time by presuming guilt. You are basically defrauding the entire point of an election. You are committing a form of fraud. Actually, you're controlling it the entire now. And granted, Trump wouldn't win Maine anyway. He wouldn't win, might not win Colorado. Though based on this part, I can imagine more people going, nah, we're voting him. I don't know. I don't know about Maine, but I can. I don't know. Maybe go and check Maine.
Well, so what's interesting about Maine is that it wasn't. So they have a different process that they have to go forward and do.
Yeah.
They can't necessarily just. So their Supreme Court has to first have another person see it. I think it's their Secretary of State needs to be the first one to basically have that thought first.
It can split its 4 electoral college votes.
Yeah.
That's I didn't know you could do that in states.
I don't know how.
Maine
I
can
don't
do it
remember
because of the
exactly.
setup. Yeah, they have an unusual setup, and Trump had won one in both 2016 and 2020. So it's it's predominantly a blue state. However, it's still one where you can win seats based on votes. How interesting is that? I don't agree with it, but because I think you should just win it or not. But he hasn't been convicted. Sorry, he hasn't been convicted. You're quite right, Chaos. We know this, which is why the issue with Maine and Colorado and any other state that try and do this is why the argument can be that you are presuming guilt until proven innocent, and that is wrong. Although he's trying to lean on the Supreme Court right now, isn't he?
Yes.
Provide immunity of some kind.
The Colorado issue is still on stay, as we had discussed last week. That will still be that way until the Supreme Court rules or refuses to rule on the situation. Until then, we basically have to sit around and wait for them to decide something.
Right.
So right now, Maine being a different setup, technically, because the Secretary of State has already given her opinion on it, now the Supreme Court can review it. From what I understand, their system is very weird. Now they'll be able to review it, and then they'll be able to say yes or no. But we knew ahead of time, or at least people had been remarking ahead of time, that they knew that the Secretary of State in Maine was very, very anti-Trump.
Well, we noticed from quite a few people now have been. I saw a picture actually of the woman involved, the woman who made this decision, and she's being pilloried all over Twitter for looking like a Karen.
Oh, does she? Hold on, I need to find this picture.
Yeah,
Maine Secretary of State.
glasses, straight hair, I think.
Oh my. Yes, and I have seen this one before. And oh my god, it's bad. Yeah.
I saw a picture of her, and I'm like, this woman just made a decision for an entire state, and I think that was a tweet, and I thought that sums this up. Someone thinking they can act on behalf of an entire populace of a state. Bear in mind here, by doing that, you are denying him the one vote one electoral college point he would have got. He more than likely would get. I think it's vitally important to.
Right. Now, I still think it's very interesting that we even are entertaining these ideas because from their point of view, right, from the Secretary of State's point of view, basically she went down the line of saying, well, it's very clear that January 6th was an insurrection and that Donald Trump was responsible for all these things.
Right.
Now, again, we are neglecting a good amount of details here, which is that that has never been discussed officially.
I would also argue that you are presuming to speak for those who are trying to determine if that is the case or not. Therefore, you are assuming too much. Not you, the
right
secretary.
Right, and by doing so, as Chaos mentions, they are essentially just handing this out to him. By them basically forcing this situation over and over, they are making this something that will give him the White House.
Something which I believe you're okay with because you're sick of the Bidenomics.
Well, yeah, that's true. But also, I'm sick of the Bidenomics for several reasons. But yeah, that's part of it. The other part of the Bidenomics is that they're like, oh, inflation is down. I'm like, comparatively to like a month ago, sure, it still sucks compared to like 4 years ago, and I haven't gotten that much of a raise for it to matter. So, hush up. Yeah, overstates he was never going to win. Now, somebody did make a very interesting point, and we've talked about parts of this in the past, but somebody was making the assessment or the opinion that we don't actually have blue states. We have red states and blue cities, and sometimes the blue cities are large enough to make a state representative blue.
Is there a state that is like actually just blue?
Well, if we look at county votes, electoral college, let's 2020. Let's do that. A state that's primarily blue is still California, just based on votes. Or at least these counties. I bet you if I went down into individual votes, it might be even more so. But other than that, Arizona and New Mexico are a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
What was that? Alabama? Yeah, Alabama is also its western side is very, very blue. Basically everything that's in like Rhode Island, Vermont, Massachusetts, like those areas are also very, very blue with very little red. But basically the rest of the state is or the rest of the country is pretty red. Here, let me drop this map for you so that you can see what I'm looking at, and then you can also understand. So basically, Hawaii also appears to be relatively blue.
Alabama, as a state you mentioned there, would to an extent throws me because when I think Alabama, I think rednecks. I think very red. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Illinois is blue because of Chicago. I'm very much aware of that because I've seen the voting pattern.
Well, Alabama apparently just has that one strip in the middle, which if I pulled up another map, looks to be Montgomery, Auburn, Selma, so the capital area, which pretty much tracks in Mississippi, which is next to it.
Right.
Um,
The only
but
thing I know about
yeah,
Mississippi are the Mud Pies and Al Snow fighting Hardcore Holly there.
sure. That sounds like something that I totally understand.
It was a great pay-per-view that I've still got on VHS. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's VHSs.
Yeah, it was a hardcore match. It was great. Was it Road Dogg? No. It was Hardcore Holly and Al Snow. It was great.
But yeah, so I mean, we have actual areas that are, we'll call them confusing.
Compared
Because
to England, you have a lot of land that isn't utilized as living space. Land doesn't vote people do, and people are clustered together in those cities. Yes, they are, and tribalism is quite common in many heavily populated areas. But then people in cities don't quite understand the value of those more rural regions and why it's important to maintain things like an electoral college. Don't forget here, London voted resoundingly to leave, for example, the EU. The rest of rest of England said, "No, you don't speak for the rest of us." Thankfully, in this instance, and the point really is that thankfully there are enough other places in the United Kingdom, or in England anyway, in Wales, to say, "Fuck you."
London, anyway. Yeah, true.
I do think that the voices of those, just because there's less of you, doesn't mean that you should be anyway less as important. But it is still an interesting to show the cultural divide between that of the cities and that of the more rural regions.
Oh, sorry, you faded out there.
Sorry, did I fade out on you?
Yeah.
Okay, I said that it's interesting that obviously that the more rural regions do vote a particular way. It shows a massive cultural divide.
Right. But even if we looked at Maine, which is the top right of the map that I sent you, it's also not all that blue.
No, it isn't.
It has blue.
Yeah, which is why I pointed out that Trump got an electoral college vote in 2016 and 2020.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's very I don't know, maybe it's wishful thinking that they would go down this road. Though, of course, now that let's see, if I pull up the article that I had here for the main thing, yes, pause her decision pending a potential appeal in state court, which Trump's team said they intend to file. So we know that it will come eventually. That kind of it will come down to a Supreme Court situation. Now, I don't like the characterization that CNN puts here. It goes, Maine's top election official has removed former President Trump from the 2024 primary ballot in a shock decision.
Oh, please.
Based on the 14th Amendment. I'm like, yeah, shock my ass.
I'm waiting for New York to do it. I'm waiting for someone just for lulz to do it in Georgia, maybe even Nevada as well. Even though Nevada only just voted that way last time.
So they're already...
Any blue safe state, I can imagine them doing it just because they're twats.
I'm trying to see which are all the states, because we've already been through a couple of them. I believe Minnesota has already basically said, no, we're not doing that. Okay, let's see.
Well, that's good, because Minnesota is a blue state.
Yeah. So ballot challenges have been dismissed in Florida, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island, which I think is hilarious, because that means that Rhode Island said, quit your shit, even though it's a very, very blue state. I think that's very interesting.
It's a damning statement, really, isn't it?
Definitely, actually. The fact that you can't, just trust that it's going to just work out for you just because it's historically voted blue is definitely a damning statement. Absolutely.
Maybe you should understand the context and the consequences of doing that kind of general jackassery of denying somebody the right to be on a ballot.
Well, I mean, yes, that. Plus, also, like, they are basically just saying that, hey, this one guy did it, so we also want to do it, and we don't think that you should be allowed to run. It's part of that joke that I was saying earlier, like, oh, Russia, it banned its opponent from
Uh-huh.
being able to run. Crazy, absolutely nutty. In fact, how could they do this?
There was a
How
meme
could
I
they-
saw where it was a meme of something similar to that, where it had one side of an argument saying, "Oh no, he started an insurrection. We can totally ban him from running for office." Reply underneath, the next meme, the next image is like, "Government takes control of my freedom, but my freedom."
Yeah.
Oh, it was the Russian collusion argument first time. Second time was denying someone the right to actually have any rights.
Well, you see
was
that
accurate.
they're kind of setting themselves up for such an argument because when you decide that your opponent does not deserve the same right to be argued for or against in the same way that we've done things forever, you're basically saying either A, you're afraid, or B, that you are basically anticipating that your policies are so unlikable that the only way for you to hold on to power is to legally bar the opponent from actually being able to engage in a legal, free and fair election, if you want to use buzzwords. Now, the other states that are pending lawsuits, 14 states.
14.
Arizona, Alaska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, South Carolina, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming.
Okay, not all of those are blue safe states.
No,
some of those are very red.
Yeah, West Virginia is pretty red. South Carolina
Texas.
is pretty red. Texas is purple.
Oh yeah, a few cities have been doing that, haven't they?
Yes, and everybody running away from California because failed policy.
Yeah, but unironically wanting to install it in Texas.
Yes, that is the that sounds very typical. It's almost like a. I want to make the analogy. It's like a, but I can't think of the proper way to do it. It's essentially it's like an invading force. It comes in, it eats and destroys everything in its way, and then it moves on to the next place.
Swarm.
Yeah.
It's a swarm of locusts. They look for their harvest.
Yep. So yeah, there's that, and that's kind of what we're looking at as far as well, the rest of the world right now, right?
California and Illinois are both collapsing states. I would assume the Illinois one I'd heard about being a collapsing state for a while, because it's not too far from Michigan. I always thought that would kind of bleed out, but then I realized Illinois is completely different as a state to Michigan.
Yeah, I've vaguely heard of stuff like that, but I'm not quite sure.
I think it's a fascinating case study to see how each new governor, when they come in, tries to fix the problem. In California, their way of solving the problem for years was to raise taxes every time. But no governor wants to do that. I remember Arnie was the governor. He didn't want to raise taxes, but he had no choice.
Right, and he very specifically attempted to avoid it. I remember because people used to make the comment that he was a very right-leaning governor. He was a conservative governor of a otherwise very, very blue state. If we're looking at the stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, I think that with all of these different cases, the Supreme Court basically has to make a judgment call, because if they don't, then you're going to need to have to make a decision. There is no other way to avoid making this decision. And I don't necessarily know what they plan to do if they don't want to make said decision. Because basically, well, I don't know what you expect. If the people cannot vote for their or the people that they want to vote for,
or be given the choice.
Right, or you are going to cause the I word for real.
Mm-hmm. It's funny to me because you've accused this guy of insurrection, you've accused him of collusion with the Russians,
Mm-hmm.
but not you, Trups, those in high office in America are now seeking to control the very fabric of an election by saying who can or cannot be on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're basing it off of incomplete, inconclusive, indecisive, the vagarity, the nebulous grey area, and acting as if that is enough, but it is not enough. Integrity dictates any level of intellectual and electoral integrity dictates based on the constitution that you have cited in the past on this channel. It is fundamentally important the process be respected before you act. And as I've said, this is not the Dear Colleague letter. This is not Title IX bullshit.
Right. And especially because we have a very unpopular president right now, this wouldn't be as much of an issue if it weren't so blatantly obvious that, like, Biden's approval rating is lower than Trump's was at the pandemic.
Trump got undone by the pandemic, to be honest, because he was doing
I know
well.
he did.
Before that, he was doing fine.
Even he said that.
Mm-hmm.
Even he agreed with the same.
I think I said it. I think I was saying that his approval during the election was going down because of that. Because I don't know how anyone handles it. I don't think Biden could have done any better.
I mean, probably not. I mean,
it was too busy sleeping and vetoing everything.
They needed a scapegoat, and they got it.
Uh-huh.
And that's everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the play. They got their scapegoat. And yeah, I mean that's just how things are, and it's going to be a shame and a shock when, I mean, we're not even in 2024 yet, but it's only gonna go up from here in its intensity.
It's going to get very interesting because obviously you haven't even got you through your primaries yet.
True. Yeah.
So
we haven't gotten through primaries, which is slated for very, very soon. Actually, I think the first.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that Trump will win it, but if he's going to have a running mate, I think it should be the most popular person there to run with him for 4 years. So that person could run in 4 years' time for president.
Well, Nikki Haley is no longer as popular.
Shocker. But
she was asked by an individual, "Hey, so." I don't even know how this question comes up in, like, normal conversation, but she was asked about what was the cause of the Civil War, and her initial answer was states' rights. And I'm like, that's a cop-out answer. That's not fair. That's not a fair thing to say. Because, I mean...
It's lazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true, though. But then the question is, states' rights to do what? Own slaves. And not get taxed as much.
Yeah, the tax part was very important because even though it wasn't a huge amount then, but it actually was. But don't forget here that tithe you were paying only got worse when you guys decided the federal crap decided to fuck your people over even more.
Well, then they decided that shit wasn't playing the way they wanted to, so they sent Union Army to Fort Sumter, and then everyone got pissy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yes, but also no. The cause of the Civil War for a person running for office, however, the answer, to give the political answer, is slavery. The nuance is for different conversation. And I don't know if there was a way for Nikki Haley to avoid that hole that somebody very clearly dug and laid out in front of her. Because if you say, well, states' rights, then of course you neglect the question of slavery. If you say slavery, then people think that you're just giving the political answer, which of course you are.
Yeah.
Ironically, if you were to say Union encroaching on the South, you may have been asked, could you expand on that some more?
So I have a opinion here I'd like to insert.
Sure.
The answer she gave to me reminded me of beauty pageants where they get asked if they could do one thing in the world, would it be? And they all say world peace.
That's a good analogy, actually.
It's such a cop out. Oh, everyone applaud. Yes, I'm eating chocolate. Everyone applaud. Just yeah. Well, oh, you're so brave. Shut the fuck up.
Oh yes, what a good answer that was. Yes.
Honestly. So let's just say Nikki Haley doesn't win it. That's fair. I think, even though he won't do it, Trump should go with, just because it'd be completely different. Yeah, Squeak, fuck off. Should go with Vivek, because I think it'd be hilarious. Two businessmen instead.
I 100% agree.
It won't happen, but I'd like to see it.
Right. I was gonna say, like, yeah, I would love for that. Too bad.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think it'd be good because, well, one's a lot younger and sharper, and then you got Trump, who is just really, really, really opinionated, and I like it. I had people on in Twitch, my Twitch chat earlier. I was doing a little driving game, and we were talking about elections early on. I don't know why. It popped up. I think I mentioned a politics stream, and I was going to talk. I mentioned Maine, and it tickled me. And people were saying, look, they don't necessarily agree with Trump. They didn't vote for Trump. They didn't want Trump there, but they don't like this idea of the state controlling the system, or they didn't like the fact that people were trying so desperately to make him vanish, when, if anything, you're pushing those states towards him.
Well, yeah, and also, yes, you're pushing things towards him, but also they are basically just that. There's no other way to say it, but they appear to want him to win.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to guarantee a victory, what you want to do is keep on alienating, because the casual person's going to sit there and go, "Oh, you must be doing it for the right reason." Totally right, by the way. Oh, and just for you all, I put the chocolate away. I was given a tub of Heroes and a bottle of Prosecco by the bakery I cleaned earlier. Okay, I don't know what Prosecco is, but I've got a bottle of it now.
I don't know what Prosecco is, but it's great.
It's apparently some kind of fizzy champagne wine thing. And I bought
Chaos. Strangely, I didn't vote for Trump the first time. I did the second. Same.
I didn't either, but I would have, because I'm a dickhead.
No, that's election fraud.
Shh. I'm American in mind.
Yeah.
So I'll do it in an American accent. Okay. That's the best I can do.
What kind of an American accent is that?
Don't smoke marijuana.
Okay. Yeah, South Park, okay.
Don't touch me there, Mr. Hood. Don't touch my special place.
South Park Canadian?
No,
I know it's written by Americans, but
I mean,
in
I
Canada?
can do a few South Park characters. Does that count? I can do Mr.
Oh no,
Hanky.
it's not based in Canada. What the fuck am I talking about? Never mind. Because I remember the Canadians are the weird egg things.
They are, yes. They're the ones with the weird
I haven't
heads.
watched that show in so long.
They took the piss out of KSI and Logan Paul's Prime by creating one called Cred, and I will admit, I cried with laughter when I saw it.
They also took the shit out of Harry.
Yeah.
Which deserved.
Nothing more deserved. And bubbly semi-dry wine. Well, this is actually a dry white, so that makes sense. I don't drink wine, but I'll put it in my cabin, and my friend Dave will probably take it and offer it as an archery prize for somebody next year.
So, as we wind down the final episode of the year, is there anything you want to reflect on? Any stories that you recall, or that tickled your fancy, that you remember, like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened, or whatever?
No. No.
Wow.
So
wow.
I've loved the all the huge interest and investment into things like Ukraine and Israel. But as the year has gone on, it's kind of like really, it's died off to desperate e-begging, akin to that level of, if you've got time to watch people, I'm talking to all you motherfuckers in my chat, you have time to give me your money. That's basically what we're getting from Ukraine. Israel's a little bit different. They're very much of the opinion, we're going to annihilate Hamas. And then you've seen how many people are willing to defend Hamas by literally protesting in New York City and going, Allahu, and then snack bar. And I'm just like, wow, that's the hill you want to go to. Especially when now more and more articles are coming out of those who are held captive, who have been operated on by vets. And I don't mean veteran, I mean veterinary, that an animal doctor. Dr. Doolittle, but without the fun. I'm like, bitch, this isn't the cowboy surgery of season 2 Prison Break with freaking Bagwell getting his hands sewn back on. No, this is. Sorry,
I just was remembering the show Prison Break.
I am a big fan of that show.
Oh, they used to watch that show all the time.
Wow, that makes me feel old.
No, like, because we used to watch like Survivor and Amazing Race and all that shit too.
Oh, that's all right then. So my main thing this year has been not UK politics, because it's been so dead. I will be watching it next year for those who are interested. I will be on my Omegon Rumble channel and on BitChute be uploading politics content there. Next year, over the weekend, I'll be moving my office into my actual office, so next week I'll be full-time up there, which is brilliant. So there should be more time to make more content and politics-based, which means hopefully I'll be more informed, which is what I want to be. I like political discussion, not on my main channel, because my channel is filled with boomers like myself. Yeah, more of an effort will be made to be more productive. And I might even bring PMQs back for Rumble only.
Sorry, I was. That would be actually pretty cool, because I remember PMQs. That was how that's how I started getting on this show.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, that happened because of a parliamentary recess, and I had fuck all to do politics-wise on this channel. So I reached out to Trups. We did one show, and then he messaged me the next week and said, "Oh, the next day." I was like, "So we're doing one next week, right?" And I'm like, "What?" And like 4 or 5 years later, we're still doing it. It would be a one-off, and somehow we've done it for this many years.
It was a recess, and you're like, "I'm not gonna do anything because there's nothing to talk about." And I was like, "Bet you want an American opinion? Yeah, let's get some America in here." and so we did.
Oh, but yeah. Oh. Yeah, sorry, the cork on my end, it didn't sound as impressive.
I think it was 3 years ago.
It would have been before lockdown, so it would be 4 to 5.
Oh shit, you're right. Oh no.
Yeah, it's been a while. Let me see if I can find a more satisfying cork. Is this better? Oh.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, it's quite.
That'll do.
That'll do.
What about this one? Oh, that's too short. It's fine.
Oh, boo.
I've got others, but I can't be asked to reach up and grab them. Sorry.
Do you have any whiskey streams scheduled before the new year? Or?
No, next one is January 13th. It's already set up. It's entirely Jameson's based.
I see that.
We're gonna Dave and I are gonna be doing it in the bar. We're gonna try and do more streams that are more popular. So, for example, the first 2 will be Jameson's and Johnny Walker. One will be in the bar. The second will actually be in Dave's flat. But we've got a Glenmorangie one planned. I want to do a Glenfiddich one because I think these are big names, and I really think that will work. We've got some Discord ones planned as well for samples, but that's a Discord thing we do on the server. Dave and I do tasting sessions, and sucks to be you then, Chaos, because I've got all the Jameson and you got fuck all. What about you this year with the political news? Have you had anything that really took your fancy?
I'm looking back at our Spotify, and I find it very interesting because I remember one of them is labeled "Let's talk about the Ocean Gate submarine tragedy," and that still makes me go like, "Oh yeah, that happened. That was a real thing that existed."
That was so. I mean, it didn't make me want to buy a HOTAS.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even. I think it was a Logitech controller.
I use Logitech, and maybe they should have used the HOTAS.
Yeah, honestly, I have a lot of Texas as well, because they're cheap and easy to get.
Yeah, well, I have the steering wheel set up, and that's not that cheap.
Yes, correct. The
Yeah.
steering wheel is not, and HOTAS in general are not. Like the the Warthog, which is a very good one, is definitely not a.
You play flight sims, don't you?
Yes, when my computer can handle it.
Oh well, that's always nice. Ocean Gate was insane though, as Chaos has pointed out in the YouTube chat. I agree. In retrospect, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
The only person I cared about and felt sorry for was the teenager who didn't want to be there.
True. Yeah.
Beyond that, the rest of you deserve to be scattered across the bottom of the ocean floor, quite frankly.
Well, they were already eaten by sharks, I imagine.
And crabs. Well, based on the physics of implosion, I don't believe they were given much of a chance to eat them.
I mean, they pick up a lot of random stuff.
Sure, basket shark could certainly do it.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, no. I mean, there was the Hunter Biden scandal. This is the laptop. That was years ago at this point.
Hunter Biden, man, that guy is a proper barnacle on his dad's hull. He is just always there. I don't know how, but he's always there. I just don't get it.
We will certainly see what ends up happening with that in the new year.
Agreed. And as you mentioned, yeah, we're actually at the end of this stream. Yeah. Are we here next week, Trups?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So the first week back, 3 in a row, 4 in a row, I think. Actually, stream-wise, we're doing very well. This will be uploaded tomorrow to Spotify and Rumble, because I have stuff to do with the weekend. I need to get it done quickly. You should follow us on Rumble, by the way. We've got like 16 followers. We get good views over there, 20, 30 views per stream. It's great. Totally worth my time. And obviously on Spotify, we have 217 followers. If you do want to follow us on Spotify, please consider doing so, because obviously I sexify the audio. It's glorious. We aren't going to be changing anything visually just yet, but I'm going to try and make more of an effort next week. I'll be on my laptop, so I should be able to set things up a little bit differently. We'll see. Thanks everyone for being here. We really appreciate it. We hope you had a lovely Christmas or Moistmas, Festivus, Sithmas, whatever holiday you celebrate, the pagan one too. I don't know, Saturnalia, is that what it's called?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I remember it from the Big Bang Theory. You're welcome.
Nice.
And yeah, Sheldon taught me so much. Hope to see you next week. Thanks again for being here. Say good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.